Don't feel too bad, they had us all fooled.
We are the knights who say...
When you put Heath Ledger front and centre in a movie called A Knight's Tale, it's hard to not assume they were all charming, chivalrous, and devilishly handsome. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK Top 5 Facts. In today's installment, we'll be counting down the 5 disappointing facts about knights. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. There were undoubtedly plenty of knights throughout the ages who were model citizens, but today we're exploring the many harsh truths about these famous medieval warriors that tarnish the reputation of the knight in shining armour. Number 5. The Arbalest killed the knight. We all know that video killed the radio star, but what exactly brought about the end of knights as the reigning champions of the medieval battlefield?
Oh yes, that will do the job nicely.
Meet the Arbalest, a high-powered crossbow that was essentially the Middle Ages equivalent of a cop killer, the world's first armor-piercing round. A knight's armor was incredibly heavy and cumbersome, but it gave them a serious advantage in battle, protecting them from most weapons. That being said, spiral staircases were also known to slow them down, which is why they were so common in castles. Even in relatively untrained hands, an Arbalest bolt was capable of piercing the most elaborate suit of armour, turning the average knight into a big, shiny, slow-moving target. Number 4. Not everybody was eligible for knighthood. Heath Ledger's William Thatcher was peasant-born in A Knight's Tale. In The Sword in the Stone, King Arthur began as a simple orphan boy. Hollywood might have you believe that every story of knighthood was a rags-to-riches one.
A man can change his stars.
In reality, it was very exclusive, available only to a select few. If you weren't born into a high social class with the financial means to cover the many associated costs, your chances of attaining knighthood were slim at best. On rare and exceptional occasions, a soldier of low class could be awarded a title of knighthood, and the land to go with it, after a truly outstanding show of bravery in battle. Eventually, many knights laid down their swords and took up their checkbooks, maintaining their knighthood through financial means rather than battle tactics. Number 3. Chivalry was real, but not always applied. They say chivalry was dead, but just how alive was it to begin with? This medieval system of social, ethical, and religious values can be traced back to the Holy Roman Empire. While the chivalric code was real, the rules of chivalry were always outlined as ideals to strive for, rather than depictions of how people really acted. Most knights were happier to apply it as they saw fit, primarily in public settings and amongst fellow nobility. Raping and pillaging were common knightly pastimes after a victorious battle, and dueling for a woman's affection? Well, that was between two knights. The fair ladies' or fellas' romantic interests, or consent, didn't really factor into the equation. Number 2. Knighthood is no longer related to military service. Alright, so knights weren't all that chivalrous, and they might have been from slightly elitist stock, but they were still legendary warriors, right? Well, not so much. By the 15th century, the feudal system of exchanging military service for land and title under a lord had already given way to a more formal contractual system of military service. And while some knights were still riding into battle in a full suit of armour, many knights were only using the title as a marker of social standing and class. In fact, by 1560, knighthood had transformed almost entirely to an honorific title, having little or nothing to do with military service or combat.
You are no knight. You have forsaken every vow you ever took.
Number 1, they were not gallant, they were gross. Obviously, standards of hygiene in the Middle Ages were nowhere close to what they are today.
Can you smell it? Yes. I can smell it.
Deodorant was still centuries away, and Axe body spray meant something else entirely. But even in the context of the time period, knights were an unpleasantly odorous bunch. Travelling long distances on horseback, sleeping in less than ideal conditions, and working up a sweat in heavy armour while getting covered in dirt, grime, and blood isn't exactly conducive to good hygiene. Battles didn't have bathroom breaks, which means that knights often relieved themselves in the suit of armour. There was a removable codpiece if one simply had to pee, but when it came to number 2s, it was staying in the armour. Forget about Prince Charming, the average knight looked more like the Hound than the Knight of Flowers.
There's no safety, you dumb bitch.
So which of these facts did you find the most interesting? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and subscribe for new videos every day.